I would like to go over how Bhagavad Gita is organized. Do you know how many chapters Bhagavad Gita have? 18. Yeah. So the Bhagavad Gita have 18 chapters. So primarily we are now beginning with the 7th chapter. So Bhagavad Gita is generally structured in three sections. The first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita primarily talks about karma, and last 6 chapter of Bhagavad Gita primarily talks about jnana. So Bhagavad Gita is arranged in a sandwich structure. So like a sandwich, there is a bread on top, bread on bottom, and the in between is the cream. So same way, Krishna have arranged the message of Bhagavad Gita. So 7 to 12 chapter is the section where Krishna talks about bhakti. So if you see first 6 chapter, Krishna doesn't speak so much about himself. First chapter is just the description of battlefield, second chapter about soul, and he talks about karma, but very limited he talks about himself. But from 7th chapter onward, 7 to 12, Krishna specially talks about himself, his energies and his potencies, and how one can achieve him. So that's why for devotees, these 7 to 12 chapters are very special. Once Srila Prabhupada was in Paris, and His Holiness Indradumna Maharaj, who is Srila Prabhupada's disciple, he was preaching there in Paris. So once he was preaching to one Navy admiral. The person was Navy admiral, he was working in Navy and a senior post. So he thought of, because Prabhupada is in Paris, he took him to meet Srila Prabhupada. So the Navy admiral came, he was Prabhupada nicely talking with him, and he was explaining Bhagavad Gita to him. So when Prabhupada was explaining Bhagavad Gita, 10-20 minutes passed, and now because he's a senior officer, he said to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, I need to leave for next meeting. So Prabhupada said to his disciple, okay, give him French Bhagavad Gita. So he took Bhagavad Gita and he looked at the book. It's really thick book. So he asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, this thick book, do you recommend any chapters? So Prabhupada said, okay, read 9 chapters, you'll get the essence of it. So as I said, that Bhagavad Gita is like a sandwich pattern. So 9 chapter, as we go to 9 chapter, you'll see why it's so special, because that's where Krishna gives the most precious instruction, right exactly in between 9.34, Man Manabho Mad Bhakto. So that's the way Bhagavad Gita is organized. So, and because we are bringing 7 chapter, so this is a new section I thought of sharing with you. Now, going over it is how we learn scripture. So this is, I think, when we already study Bhagavad Gita, it's very important to understand. I understood it very late, so I feel it's worth knowing it. So generally what happens, we study material scriptures, like material knowledge. How we learn, it's always a linear progression. So for example, we are learning math. How we learn first grade, second grade, we learn the numbers, then we learn addition, subtraction, then we learn division, and incrementally we go for it. And you never feel that, okay, let me go back and again learn one, two, or addition, subtraction. So like for example, I was helping my son to do his homework, and after many years I came across this divisibility test. We all know, right? So when I looked at it, I know that I could understand that I understood it, I know it, it was just revision, but nothing new message or new learning I could derive from that message. So but Bhagavad Gita's learning, the learning of scripture is not like that. It's a spiral. Just like when we climb a mountain in a car, we take turns and turns. So although we are going in round, we are going up. So every turn, you get to see a new view, new sight, and new experience. So same way, Bhagavad Gita, the message of Bhagavad Gita is like that. And that's the way scripture are means. When we read it, first time, we just know something. When we go read second times, we get deeper and deeper meaning. So like that's the way the message of Bhagavad Gita is. The more we read, the more we go deeper, and it gives newer and newer and deeper understanding. And that's why, for example, Vaisheshika Prabhu, many of you know him, he joined in 1975. So last 50 years, he's reading Bhagavad Gita. But it's the same books, it's just 700 verses. And if you say Bhagavad Gita, it's a very small text compared to other religious texts. And that's where you can see that he's getting newer and newer, deeper and deeper realization. So his case Radhika Raman Prabhu, who is a chair of religious studies in University of Utah. So last week in ISV, he gave a nice seminar, how to study scriptures. So he elaborately talked about this, that how to study scripture and how it is not a linear one, but it's a spiral progression. So when we study Bhagavad Gita, we can keep that in mind, that we can read it again and again and get a deeper realization. So with that, we'll go with the 7th chapter. So that chapter says that knowledge of absolute. So the theme for this chapter is head. So Krishna discuss primarily 4 topics here, and we'll go one by one, like how to hear about Krishna. Second is how we can see Krishna everywhere, and third is why some people accept Krishna and why some people reject Krishna, and fourth is demigod worship. So now, like Krishna says in first verse, Maya saktamana partha yogam yunjan madashrayah asamshayam samagram mam yatadnyasasti tashrunu. You would like to read translation?
The Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Now hear, O son of Partha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt."
Yeah. So Krishna emphasizes word here. So Krishna asks Arjuna to hear about him from him. So now Acharya comments that how to hear Krishna's message and why it is important. So there is a relationship between what Krishna speaks in previous chapter and why is Krishna is asking Arjuna to hear. So in previous chapter, Dhyan Yoga, Krishna concludes that who is the great yogi? Yoginam api sarvesham madgaten atmana. So in this, who is a great yogi? Who always think about him. And how some can think about him? Those who have a Shraddha. So Krishna says, once we hear about Krishna, what happens? We gain knowledge about Krishna. And what happens with the knowledge? We get faith, Shraddha about Krishna. And what happens with that faith? We get devotion towards Krishna. So that's the progression. So that's why Krishna starts this chapter with hearing. Now, how we can know about Krishna, how we can hear about Krishna. So there are many ways to gain knowledge. We have heard that there are 3 primary ways any one of us can gain the knowledge. One is Pratyaksha Praman, like seeing is believing. So seeing is believing, whatever we see, we believe. But for example, if there is a darkness, we cannot see our hand. So do we believe that we don't have our hand? So I had first class experience. I heard about this but never realized it. So we had an office event, and in Sunnyvale they have something called escape rooms. So the escape rooms are the rooms you go and you have to exit. There is a theme, you have to solve the puzzle. So the room we went was like a very dark room, and that was the theme there, that everything is dark, you don't have a light. And it was such a pitch dark, I got very scared. I could not see my own hand. And that time I realized that, hey, that is true. We can't see, and confirm that seeing is believing. And now in the era of AI, I can say that I went to Hawaii. I just asked Gemini or ChatGPT that create my photo, and it will create the photo. So is it a right way to seeing is believing, to know about Krishna? Certainly not. Not a full way. So second aspect is Anuman Praman, like how we can inference the knowledge. So there was a conference of doctors, and it was in big hospital. So between conference, many specialists came and they were discussing in a meeting. It was a tea break, so they came out, they were all discussing. And they saw that at certain distance, one person was limping, he was not able to walk properly. And then these doctors started a discussion among themselves, what may be the reason. So pediatrics started saying that, hey, there may be a fracture in his leg, that's why he's limping. Then another neurosurgeon says, no, there may be some neural issue, that's why he's limping. So like that, every expert doctor gave his opinion, because he always see from his own perspective. You will also see if you have some disease which is not diagnosed, if you go to doctor, he will always say from his perspective. So one person say, hey, why you are trying to guess? Let's go and ask that person. So now when they went and asked that person, he says, actually my chappal is broken, that's why I'm limping. So we try to gain the knowledge by the inference, but that's not the perfect way. So what is the right way to gain knowledge? The right way to gain knowledge is Shabda Praman, by hearing. How we hear? We hear from bona fide sources. So Vedas are like, if a son wants to know who is his father, what is the right way? Is go and ask his mother that who is your father. And same way, Krishna, Vedas are like our mother, and when we ask Vedas, scriptures, we get to know about Krishna, and that's a bona fide way to know about Krishna. So now one may ask that, hey, shall we not, what about other two aspects, Anuman Praman and Pratyaksha Praman? So again, Radhika Raman Prabhu in his scriptural studies, if you can, his lectures are on YouTube, you can listen. It just last Saturday, Sunday he talked. So he said that, yes, we first hear from scripture by Shabda Praman, and then we can use Anuman and other two aspects to verify that truth. So same way we can listen the message of Bhagavad Gita, what Krishna is talking about, and we can get that message, and then we can use our other aspect, we can think about it, and we try to verify that message and try to understand it better. So that's the way to gain knowledge. So in this section, Krishna talks about, that's the first theme of that, how we gain the knowledge about Krishna. Now, so next two verses, Krishna talks about Jnana and Vijnana. So as we discussed, this is the first bhakti section. So the second verse, Krishna talks about two types of knowledge, Jnana and Vijnana. So if the Jnana is the greatness of Krishna, he talks about his energies. So he talks about that in 7th and 8th chapter, and Vijnana, about his sweetness, how we can surrender to him, how we can come close to him in 9th, 10th and 11th chapters. So like that, Krishna begins here, these first two chapters, and Krishna goes forward. And we may think that this knowledge just comes as it is, but it's very rare. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschitati siddhe. So this knowledge is out of thousands among men, one may know about Krishna. So we can feel very fortunate that by somehow Krishna arranged that we are able to get a chance to come together, discuss about Bhagavad Gita. It's very rare. And with this, Krishna concludes about first section, like a hearing about Krishna. Now, Arjuna's mind, there is a doubt, okay Krishna, I will hear about you, but what about the people who ask me that show me God? How I can show them? So then, to answer Arjuna's doubt, Krishna talks about next section, that how we can see Krishna everywhere. And then Krishna started talking about his energies. So anybody like to read these verses? 4th, 5th and 6th translation. Yeah, please.
On to you. On.
Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Altogether, these 8 constitute my separated material energies. Besides these, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mine, which compresses the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. All created beings have their source in these two natures, of all that is material and all that is spiritual in the world, known for certain that I am both the original and the dissolution.
So in this section, Krishna talks about his various energies. So we all know, right? Like Panch Mahabhutas, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego. These are 8 elements with which our body is made up of. And whatever we see around us is made up of these 8 energies. Anything different, all these 8 energies occupy whatever we see. And this is, Krishna calls it inferior energy. And then we are the living entities, Krishna calls us superior energy. And what living entities are doing, they are busy in exploiting the inferior energy. So we try to enjoy the material world. That's Krishna is talking about, that there are 2 types of energy, inferior and superior. And jivas we all living entities are its superior energy, and all the matter we see around us is inferior energy. And Krishna is the creator and destroyer of everything he's talking about. Now, one may see that we can see Krishna everywhere. So looking at his energies, we can perceive Krishna in earth, in water, in fire, in air, ether. So whenever we look at it, we can see that, hey, this is Krishna's energy. So now there are two ways to know about Krishna. So how we can see God? So as we discuss this chapter is by these previous verses, by looking at Krishna's different energies. Now another way to look at God is unseen is proven by seen. That's a principle. Once Srila Prabhupada used to always go for morning walks, and so he was going on morning walk on a beach near San Francisco, and it was a morning time, the sun just has arisen, and all the disciples of Prabhupada asked him, Prabhupada, you see sunrise, how beautiful it is. And Prabhupada looked at it, yes, it's indeed beautiful, but what do you think about creator of it? So Prabhupada was giving an example that, yes, this is a beautiful painting, but what about painter? So when Krishna was looking at sunrise, he was looking at Krishna, because you can't see Krishna directly, but he was seen, by looking at sunrise, we can see that Krishna's hand behind it, how Krishna created it. So that's the way pure devotees of Lord see everything. They see Krishna's presence, they see Krishna as a creator behind everything. So, and in Brahma Samhita, it's a prayers of Brahma to Krishna. One verse comes, Premanjana Charita Bhakti Vilochanina. So the word comes is Anjan. So pure devotees of the Lord have a anointment to his eyes, and with that anointment, they can see Krishna everywhere. So first time I heard this word called Anjan in my childhood. Say, I'm from Maharashtra, we don't get enough water. So what happened is, so then people dig the borewell. So we plan to dig a borewell. So my parents called one person. He said that he can see the water underground, and he had put something on his eyes. So, and he was seeing there, and I asked mother what he is doing. She said that's called Anjan. It's something special. When you put in eyes, that person can see the water. And I said, wow, it's amazing. We dig the borewell, we could not find the water there, but that's a separate story. But the point is, the Anjan, the pure devotees of the Lord, develop that vision to see Krishna everywhere. So we can also develop that vision when we get the Krishna's knowledge, when we think about Krishna, when we hear about Krishna, and slowly we understand the knowledge of Krishna, we can also develop that vision to see Krishna everywhere. So just like, for example, another example is given. For example, if you drop your son to school and you come back, and sometimes you come back early, as soon as son comes from school, he sees your car outside, and when they look at it, they know, hey, my mother or father is at home. So they are not looking at Krishna, they are not looking at father, but just by looking at the things, they are able to see the father is there. So same way, when we see creation around us, we can see, yes, Krishna exists just by looking at his creation. We can develop that vision for us. So Krishna further talks about this. So Krishna says, this is another important verse. Maya saktamana partha kincha matta sarat paratnanyat kinchit asti dhananjaya mayi sarvamidam protam sutrehe manigana iva. You would like to read the translation?
O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me, as pearls are strung on a thread.
Yeah. So we can all see, like, I have neck beads. So if you see the neck beads, you see beads, but you don't see the thread behind it. So Krishna says, I am a maintainer of this universe. So if you see all planets, they are all moving in their own orbit. There is a gravitational force, but across Earth there is a gravitational force. Moon is moving in his own orbit, Sun is moving in his own orbit, Sun is rising, Sun is setting. Who is all doing that? So Krishna says, I am the maintainer. But he gives the example, a very simple example. Just we can see the beads, but we cannot see the thread. But by looking at beads, we can understand that there is a thread which is binding it. So same way, when we look at the nature, when we look at things outside, we can understand that Krishna is maintaining everything and we cannot see his hand. So for example, a tree is planted, a seed is planted and a tree fructifies. Now when you look at the tree, you know that there was a seed. Now you can't go back and see the seed because it's already fructified. So same way, we cannot see Krishna, but we can understand looking at Krishna's creation that Krishna exists. So now Krishna talks about like he's a creator, he's a maintainer, he's a destroyer, and he's also maintainer. Now, and Krishna has all these energies. Now next Krishna talks that he is not only his energy, he not only talks about energies, he is essence of everything. So the next section, Krishna gives 14 examples about how he is the essence of everything. And that way, how we can remember Krishna everywhere. So he starts with Rasoham api konteya. So I am the taste of water. So we all drink water and we feel, and generally when we are very thirsty, that time we can realize what's the taste of water. So Krishna says, I am the taste of that water. Then Krishna says, Prabhashi Shasi Suryaho. So Prabhashi he's a light of sun and moon. So when you look at sun, what's most important is the sunlight, and he's also the moonlight. So next in 15th chapter, Krishna talks that we see fruits and vegetables. So to grow vegetables and fruit tasty, we need moonlight. So Krishna says, I am the moonlight. And then like this, Krishna gives example that Prabhashi Shasi Surya. So Pranava Sarva Vedeshu. He is a Omkar. He is a sound in the Pranava. And he is a sound in ether. Shabda Ke. So he is a sound in ether. And Punyo Gandha Prithvyamcha. So earth have a fragrance. We offer flowers to Krishna. We offer incense to Krishna. Why? Because fragrance comes from earth. So Krishna says, I am that fragrance of earth. And in fire, we see heat. So Krishna says, I am that heat which is coming from the fire. And in all living entities, what is most important? The Jivatma, the living force. So Krishna says, I am that living force. So, and in austerities, Krishna says, Tapastha Chasmi Tapasvishu. So in the people who do austerities, he's a tapasya. And this is most interesting. Bijanam Sarvabhuta. Bijanam Sarvabhutanam. He is the original seed of all seeds. Now, like how many of your things, here there are two things. So, seeds we think that they are just simple, but they are miraculous. Last Sunday, Vaishika Prabhu was describing how to grow a lemon tree. So he was talking about garden and he said how to grow a lemon tree. He said you take a seeds and you soak it in water for some hours. And you take out, you wrap in a wet cloth, and then it starts sprouting and you put into the soil, and then a nice sprout comes. And then you plant it and you get lemon seeds. And he said it's miraculous. So many times what happens is we have things around us, we don't see them as a miracle. But because of we have not developed that vision. But if we take a time, take a pause, and we look around us, everything we see is miraculous. Now, for example, we all are like product manager, we are into tech. So there are seeds and there are gadgets. What do you think is the superior product if you take as a product? Which are superior? Seeds. Yeah. Because they are miraculous creation of God. In one tiny seed, there is so much compacted. And you plant it, you grow them again. So there is a story comes that once Narad Muni is visiting, there was a Brahmana and there was a cobbler. So Brahmana visits both of them and he goes to Brahmana and he is a sincere Brahmana. He is doing his ritualistic worship, performing all things on time, his puja, archana. And then Narad Muni goes and asks him that, hey, I'm going to see Lord Vishnu. Do you want me to ask anything from Lord Vishnu? The Brahmana says, yes. Can you ask Lord Vishnu that when I get salvation, when I can go back to Godhead? So Narad Muni says, yes. And then Narad Muni leaves the place and then he goes to another person. And there he sees, he's a cobbler, he's sitting below a banyan tree and his cobbler is just working on his shoes and others. And Narad Muni goes, he offers obeisances, and Narad Muni asks that, I'm going to Vaikuntha to see Lord Vishnu. Do you want anything to ask from Lord Vishnu? He says that what I want is ask Lord Vishnu that when I will go back to Godhead, when I will get salvation. So then Narad Muni leaves and he meets Lord Vishnu, and he asks that, oh Lord, out of these two people, who will come to you first? So he says that Brahmana will take 50 lifetimes, but the cobbler will come next life. So now Narad Muni is surprised why Lord is saying that. So Lord says to him that, okay, you go and tell both of them that what you have seen in Vaikuntha is Lord is putting an elephant from a needle. So you will try to put a thread from the needle, right? So tell them that Lord is putting an elephant from a head of a needle. And you just go and tell them. So Narad Muni follows the instruction. He goes and he first meets the Brahmana. He says, it was amazing. I took the Lord's darshan in Vaikuntha, and what I saw, I could not believe. He says that, and Lord said, it will take 10 lifetimes for you to come. And what I saw is, Lord was putting an elephant through a head of a needle. And he says, what? How it is possible to put an elephant from a head of a needle? You are not visited Vaikuntha. You are just bluffing. I don't believe in you. And then Narad Muni understands, and he goes. And then now he goes and meets the cobbler. Now he goes to the cobbler and he tells, Vaikuntha was amazing. I got the Lord darshan, and what I saw was really beyond my imagination. The Lord had a needle, and Lord was putting an elephant from the head of a needle. And as soon as the cobbler hears about it, what he thinks is tears comes from his eyes, and he says, wow, it's miraculous. Then Narad Muni asks, do you really believe it? He says, why it's not possible? I'm sitting this big banyan tree, and if you see the banyan tree seed, it's such a tiny banyan tree seed, and in that tiny seed, Lord have put this entire plant. So what's difficult for Lord? Put that elephant from the head of a needle. So it is possible for the Lord. And Narad Muni says, he have developed the vision to see the Lord everywhere. He have understood the Lord. That's why he is qualified to go back home, back to Godhead. So that way, we can build that vision, how we can see Krishna everywhere. So I always like this. So I was looking into this, that we are all engineers in Bay Area. We like to innovate. So I was just ask Gemini that, hey, do a comparison between a fruit fly and advanced drones. And it's really fascinating that how Krishna's creation is so advanced. And Radhanath Swami Maharaj, he always says that whatever we see around us, it's very miraculous. All we need is a proper vision to see, and we can see Krishna's hand everywhere. Now, simple fruit fly, you just bring banana or some fruits, you don't take care of it, and fruit fly grows. And we just ignore it, we don't see it. But imagine some drone engineer or drone designer who looks at that same fruit fly and what he sees. So for example, fruit fly says that the weight is just 1 milligram. It's like way smaller than 1 gram. And human beings still, we cannot develop that kind of drones. If you see, the size is so small, it's like just 2 millimeter. We can't see it. Every aspect of it, drone, they can fly for 15 kilometers. Versus modern drone, they can just fly for 2 kilometers. And then, all the aspect, if you see Krishna's creation, and it is not that it's very special, it just fruit fly in some corner. We don't pay some attention to it. But we just look at it from the side of physics, from the side of aerodynamics, so many aspects, we can see that how beautiful is Krishna's creation. So like this, what Krishna says is, Krishna gives the vision for us in this verse in this section, that how we see Krishna everywhere. So we will stop and we'll take any reflection, comments, questions.
You were talking about jnana and vijnana.
Yes.
Can you little elaborate what vijnana is?
So Vijnana is primarily talks about realized knowledge. So in that, Krishna talks like Krishna's sweetness, how we can surrender to Krishna. Knowledge, we know that there is a matter, there is a spirit, or there are different energies of Lord. That's called Jnana. But about sweetness of the Lord, how we can surrender to Him, what he likes, what he doesn't like, which type of people to surrender. That's called Vijnana. So we'll discuss more in the 9th chapter about it. Any other question? You like to add something, Prabhu, on that? Jnana and Vijnana.
One thing is, so thank you, very nice. I was taking the notes in my mobile. One thing I just want to add to Prabhu's thing, to your, whatever you said is, so jnana is knowledge, we have that, but like we know that we are not this body, we are the spirit soul, but are we acting based on that? So once you have started acting based on that, then we say that okay, we have jnana, but now we have vijnana also, we have realized knowledge, we have realized that knowledge, and that happens by sadhana. Sambandha we know, but to understand the sambandha, realize the sambandha, we need sadhana. So yeah, coming back to the same point what you said.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions?
These examples are very good, Prabhu. Thank you. So that it's easy for us to understand how we feel, how I should feel God.
Thank you so much. So now one may see that now Krishna is everywhere. Through his energies, if we apply a little bit intelligence, we can see Krishna's creation and we can see Krishna. Now one may, Arjuna, get a question, or one may ask that if Krishna is everywhere, why majority of people don't surrender to him? Why don't they take shelter of God? Why they deny the existence of God? So Krishna answers this into this verse 13 to 19 in this chapter. So now the reason Krishna gives that why most people doesn't surrender. So Krishna says Krishna have another energy of yours, Daivi Ishi Gunami. So Krishna have this another energy which is consist of 3 modes of material nature. It's Gunami, mode of passion, mode of goodness, and mode of ignorance. So all jivas are covered by these 3 modes. Because of that, they don't surrender to Krishna, and because of that, they cannot see Krishna everywhere. And about these 3 modes of material nature, goodness, passion, ignorance, Krishna talks in detail in the 14th chapter, 16th chapter, and 18th chapter. He talks more about details about these 3 modes of material nature. So he just says that because of these three modes of material nature, we cannot see Krishna, or people don't understand Krishna. Now one may ask the question, okay Krishna, but then what is the hope for us? So Krishna, this is another important verse from this chapter, that Daiviheshi Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratraya Mamevaya Prapadyante Maya Mitam Tarantite. I'd like to read the translation.
This divine energy of mine, consisting of the 3 modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it.
So, yes, Krishna's divine energy is Krishna's this Maya potency is very difficult to overcome. Acharyas compare, it's like an ocean. So can we swim and cross the ocean? It's very hard to cross the ocean. Have you seen Lord Balaji or Venkateshwara's photo? So if you observe the deity carefully, he have 2 hands. One hand is pointing towards his feet, another hand is pointing towards his knees. So Acharyas gives the explanation that this Bhavasagar is like an ocean. So if you take shelter of lotus feet of Lord, what happens? This ocean comes down to the knees, and we can easily cross beyond it. So that way, Krishna's energy is very difficult to overcome, but if you take shelter of Krishna, we can easily cross beyond it. So for example, if you go someone's home and he have a dog, like a pit bull, and you ring the bell, what happens is he comes and he starts barking at you, and anything, and you get scared that he may bite you. But as soon as the owner comes, he pats it, he becomes calm and he doesn't bother you. He starts wiggling his tail. So same way, this is Krishna's Maya energy. It's very powerful. It's like a pit bull. She will start biting you. It's very difficult to overcome. But as soon as we take shelter of Krishna, Krishna says, okay, you can spare this jiva because you have taken shelter of me. So once Srila Prabhupada was walking on a morning walk, and Prabhupada have a disciple called Brahmananda. So Brahmananda Prabhu is very fat, is very chubby. You can see his photos. So he was walking with Prabhupada, and they were near the ocean, near the beach, and there was a crab, a baby crab was walking on the sand. So Prabhupada told Brahmananda Prabhu, Prabhu, go and pick that tiny crab. So what happened is, Brahmananda Prabhu went, very fat body, and he bent down and tried to catch the crab. And crab immediately went in the water. And Brahmananda Prabhu came back and asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, I could not catch that crab, sorry. So Prabhupada started laughing. See, such a healthy Brahmananda could not catch the crab. And he said, so similarly, Maya is very powerful like Brahmananda, and we are like that tiny crab. As crab have taken shelter of water, and because of that, powerful Brahmananda could not catch it. So same way, when we take shelter of Krishna, although Maya is powerful, we cannot catch it. So that's the way we can take shelter of Krishna, and we can we can cross beyond these three modes of material nature and Krishna's energy. Now, in the further section, Krishna talks about like what types of people. Okay, now we talks about surrender to Krishna. Then Krishna talks more detail. What type of people surrender to Krishna and what type of people don't surrender to Krishna. So Krishna talks about 4 types of people who will surrender to Krishna, that who don't surrender to Krishna. These are Namam Dushkritano Muda Prapadyante Naradhama Maya Prakrata Jnana Asurim Bhavamashrita. So there are 4 types of people who don't surrender. So one, they are called Mudhas. So Mudhas are people who are animalistic fools. So Prabhupada in the purport used the example of donkey, who works very hard for whole life, but what at the end he gets little bit material pleasure, some grass. So I had a first class experience. So few years back I was working in my backyard. So I made my patio. So I hired a person, and he charged me $7,000, and he was coming, working really hard, 2 people, and they were aged, they were above 60. So I felt like it was really a lot of hard work. They have to dig, they have to lift heavy stones, and all that efforts. I looked at it, my God, it's so much hard work. So every day after the work, he used to take $1,000, $2,000 from me, and he used to go home. So after 1 week, he finished the work, he came back, and I said, hey, man, it's great. Within 1 week, you earned $7,000. What you are doing with it? So he said, actually, I don't have any money. He said, what happened? Like, every day, I used to work hard here whole day, and night I used to go to casino, and I used to play there. I spent that money. So like that, 7 days, I lost all my $7,000. So that's the example. That person is Mudha. He is working so hard, but at the end, what he is doing, he's just getting little bit pleasure in gambling. And it literally come at 8 a.m. in the morning, work till 5:30 p.m., sweating in sunshine, and what he's doing, although he's earning, but he's wasting his money. So that's the example Krishna gives as a Muda, that these people cannot surrender to Krishna. Another example Krishna gives is Naradhamas. So Naradhamas are the people who are they are civilized, they are politically and socially evolved, but they don't have a conception of God. They don't think about surrender to Krishna. So Prabhupada calls these people as Naradhamas. Then third set of people is Maya Prakrita Jnana, deluded and speculators. So these people are very scholarly. They have the knowledge, they read scriptures, they are scientists, they know a lot about everything. But no matter what, they cannot understand Krishna. They always derive the wrong meaning about it. They cannot fully understand Krishna. So they are Maya Prakrita Jnana. They are jnanis, but their knowledge is covered by Maya. And the last set of people is called Asurim Bhava Ashrita, demoniac atheist. They make fun of Krishna. They derive that God doesn't exist. So these 4 types of people never surrender to Krishna. So now Krishna talks about another 4 types of people who will surrender to Krishna. These are Artho, Arthatik, Jidnyasu, and Jnani. So Artho, those who are in distress. So we all go to God when we are in distress. So there are favorite prayers, right? Like Om Jaya Jagadish Hare Bhakta Jano Ke Sankat Palme Dur Kare. So we all take shelter of Krishna when we are in distress. So that type of people come to Krishna once they are in distress. So second type of people who come take shelter of Krishna are Artharthi, those who are behind money. So money, whenever we want money, we go and worship Krishna. Like that type of people come to Krishna. And then third type of people are inquisitive. They have questions. They really have questions. Once they have, and they try to find the answer of the question, and they immediately come to then that's why they search about different people and they come to Krishna. And four types of people are jnanis, knowledgeable. Those who have a knowledge, they come to Krishna. So Krishna talks about four types of these people come to Krishna and they take shelter of Krishna. So out of all these four, Krishna says jnanis are my favorite. They are most dear to me. So one may say that, okay, what about other threes? So Krishna says, yes, jnanis are dear to me, but others are also, but other living entities are also, other three types of people, those who are artho jitnyasu, artharthi, those who came for money, those who came for distress, they are also very dear to me. They are all udaratha. Just because they came to Krishna, they are magnanimous soul. So we should respect them all regardless. Because anyone who comes to Krishna, we should always see as like they are very dear to Krishna. And Krishna himself says that whoever comes to me for whatever reason, they are all magnanimous soul. So one may think that, okay, if I have material desire, shall I surrender to Krishna or not? So Bhagavatam says, Akama sarva kamo va moksha kam udarati tivrena bhakti yogena yajena purushap param. So if you have material desire, if you don't have material desire, if you have a desire for liberation, any reason, you come to Krishna and surrender to it. And that's the best. And so we should not be regret that, oh, I have some material desires. We all have seen that we have come for different reasons. Personally, why I came to Krishna consciousness, that when I was in engineering in my college days, I was very stressed out. Just everything was new, staying in hostel, new subject, staying away from parents. It was a very distressful situation. So because of that, I started taking association of devotee. So looking back, I feel that's good. Krishna put me in so much distress that time I took shelter of Krishna. So every one of us have a different journey. Some are knowledgeable. Some people like Achyut Chaitanya Prabhu, he went for distribution, and one person he met in Christmas in the park, he gave Bhagavad Gita, and immediately, few days, he's a full-time devotee, like he's chanting 16 rounds, he picked up, because he's in the platform of knowledge, he already made a significant progresses in previous life. So that way every one of us have a different journey. But we should always remember that Krishna is very magnanimous. Even if you have a desire, he always loves us. Even if you have some material desire, he loves us. He wants all of us to come to him with our desires, and slowly we get purified. So this is another interesting verse. So now Krishna says, who are his favorite? Of four? Knowledgeable. Those who are jnanis. So now Krishna says here, Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. So jnanis are his favorite, but to come to Krishna, jnanis also take many lifetimes. So Bahunam janmanam ante. After many lifetimes, although jnanis are favorite, they come to conclusion that Vasudeva sarvamiti and they can come to me. So now one may ask, I have so many material desires. How come I can reach Krishna if knowledgeable person who is dear to Krishna can take many lifetimes? So that's where Acharya says that we can accelerate this process by association of pure devotees. So if you take association of pure devotees, we hear from pure devotees, they immediately show you Krishna, and we don't need to take many lifetimes. So the example is given. So if you know, the pure devotee act like a catalyst. If you see glass making process, what happens? if glass is just nothing but a silica, sand, they heat it and from that they make the glass. So what happens if you heat the glass, it takes long time, multiple days to heat the glass, make it liquid. So they add something called catalyst, soda ash. So when they add the soda ash, glass doesn't need 1700, 1800 temperature. It just temperature reduce much shorter time and you can make the glass rather than days in hours. So catalyst is which speed up the process. Same way when we take association of pure devotees, when you hear from them, we can speed up the process. You don't need to take multiple lifetimes. For example, Dhruva Maharaj. So Dhruva Maharaj, Dhruva, as a 5-year-old boy, he have a desire. He goes out in forest with the desire that I want a kingdom bigger than his grandfather. And do you know who was his grandfather? Lord Brahma. So Lord Brahma created the universe, and as a 5-year-old child, he have a desire, I want a kingdom which is much larger than the Lord. So now with this material desires, he goes and he meets Narad Muni. And Narad Muni instructs him, and by following the instruction of Narad Muni, pure devotee of the Lord, within 6 months, Dhruva Maharaj get the darshan of the Lord, and he can see Lord face to face. And not only he can see the Lord face to face, Krishna also fulfills his desire. So we see the Dhruvatar, right, pole star, that's Dhruva's planet, Krishna gifts him. So that way we can see from Dhruva Maharaj's life that although he had material desire, just because of the association of pure devotee, within one lifetime he can see Krishna. We can see the example of Brigari. So Brigari is a hunter. He is very sinful, and Narad Muni meets him and he gives the message, knowledge of Krishna consciousness, and within one lifetime he becomes so advanced that next time Narad Muni comes to meet him, he starts jumping, wobbling on the ground to offer the obeisances. And Narad Muni says, what happened? He says that actually there are ants and I don't want to step on ants. So Brigari was a hunter, a very cruel hunter, used to half kill the animals, but just by the association of Narad Muni, within one lifetime, he became pure devotees of the Lord. So that's where here we see that by hearing from pure devotees of the Lord and from hearing from them, we can accelerate our process of bhakti and we can see Lord face to face. So another example comes about jnanis in Bhagavatam is Chatur Kumaras. They are small kids. Chatur Kumaras are small babies. They are the first creation of Brahma. So although they are babies, they are the oldest in the universe. So now they are very jnani, they are highly scholarly, but although they spend long time, they don't get Krishna Bhakti. And once they go to see Lord in Vaikuntha, and then they meet Jai Vijaya. And when they take Jai Vijaya, and they take the Lord's darshan, and they get the fragrance of tulsi leaves, and the fragrance of lotus feet of Lord, and then they get the bhakti. So that shows that bhakti is very rare, that jnanis also cannot achieve it. But for us, Srila Prabhupada have opened this like a storehouse of love of Godhead to all of us, and we can take benefit of it. Now one may ask that okay, Krishna talks about that we can take shelter of Krishna. There are 4 types of people surrender to Krishna, 4 types of people, those who don't surrender. But what about the people who don't surrender, who serve to devatas, who don't surrender to Krishna, but they take shelter of demigods? So that's the last section of this chapter, that why people worship the demigods. So this is the last section. So anybody like to read the translation?
Those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. Psalm 1.21. I am in everyone's heart as a super soul. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady, so that he can devote himself to that particular deity. Psalm 1.22. Endowed with such a faith, he endeavors to worship a particular demigod and obtain his desires. But in actuality, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. 7.23. Men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet.
So Krishna here talks about the demigod worship. So who approaches demigods? Those who have limited intelligence, those who are in the mode of passion and ignorance, and they have a desire to fulfill. So for example, Ravana or Hiranyakashipu we can see. So Ravana worshipped Lord Shiva and because he had some desire to get power. Hiranyakashipu wanted to become immortal, wanted to rule world. With that desire, he went to Lord Brahma. So Krishna says that when someone desires to worship demigods, I am in the Paramatma in their heart, I strengthen their faith. And whatever fruits, so these demigods, devatas, are nothing but subordinate to Lord. So if you see how the demigod function, Krishna is like a prime minister, and prime minister have many people to help him. So what happens is there are different minister, home minister, finance minister, education minister. So like today is Vasant Panchami, so many people worship Saraswati, she's a goddess of learning. So these are all departments Krishna arranged for the material function. So we can go to that department, we want knowledge or we want money, we can go to demigods and worship them, and they give us the fruit. But if you see in the government process, if you submit some project application to Home Ministry, what happens? They process it, but ultimately it has to be approved from Prime Minister, and then only it's sanctioned. So Krishna says, all these fruits demigods are giving, they are indirectly provided by me. But these fruits are what's the problem with worshipping demigods is that the people are of small intelligence, and the fruits given by demigods are limited and temporary. So we can worship demigods, get money, get fame, get power, but that is all temporary and they are limited. Because the thing with Devata, it's a post. For example, some officer is there, if you submit some application to some government officer, he have to approve it. Because it's a post, it's his duty. So when we worship demigods, it's their duty to fulfill our material desire because they are obliged to it. But that material desire may be good, may be bad for us. Oftentimes it may not be all the time it's good. But when we approach to Krishna with that same material desire, Krishna is merciful and Krishna is not bound that he should fulfill our desire. Krishna is free. So Krishna will fulfill our material desire in a way that we get purified and we can achieve him. So for example, in case of Dhruva Maharaj, he had a desire, he has a desire to get the entire planet. He had that material desire. But when we worship Krishna, what he got, not only got that desire fulfilled, he got the whole Brahmaloka, the Dhruva Loka, but Krishna also purified his heart. So Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, when he sees the Lord, and Lord says that, ask from me the fruit for benediction, Krishna says, he realizes that these all, what I was asking is like a broken glasses. So I was just asking, these all material desires are broken glasses. Now I got the love of Krishna, I don't need anything. So Krishna not only fulfilled Dhruva Maharaj material desire, but he also purified him and gave bhakti. So like this, Krishna concludes. So just to summary, we discussed 4 sections. So as we discussed, the theme of this chapter is head, H for hearing. So we should hear about Krishna from bona fide resources, and that's the only way we can know about Krishna and his message. Second theme is E for everywhere. We saw how we can see Krishna everywhere through his energies, and Krishna is a maintainer and Krishna is the essence of everything. Through that we can see Krishna all the time and everywhere, and that also encourages us to offer everything to Krishna. Patram pushpam phalam toyam. So whatever we see, we can offer it to Krishna, because as we pay royalty, right? Like you have to pay licensing fees. So Krishna created this seed, Krishna created these fruits, Krishna created this whole nature. We have to pay by offering. We are showing our gratitude to Krishna, and that's the way we can see Krishna everywhere. So the third topic we discussed is why some people accept and why some people reject Krishna. So we saw that because of three modes of material nature, some people they are controlled by it. That's why not everyone can see Krishna, although Krishna is spread everywhere by his energy. Kan kan mein Bhagwan hai, but because of illusion, three modes of material nature, we cannot see him. Now, and then four types of people surrender to Krishna and four types of people who don't surrender to Krishna. That why people approach Krishna, and these four types of people are also very magnanimous souls, and just by the association of pure devotees, we can purify and achieve Shuddha Bhakti for Krishna. And the last one is about demigod worship. So, any questions, comments on this?
So in this 7.23 verse, right, he says that my devotees ultimately reach to my supreme planet. But when we sing like may you never take birth again, so which means that we are not taking the birth, right? Our goal is that. But then where are we going? Like what is this planet?
Yeah, very nice question. So in the next chapter, Krishna says that like Krishna, 8th or 9th chapter, Krishna talks about two types of material world. This is material world and there is a spiritual world. So Krishna says we are all into this material Brahmanda, and Krishna says I have my own planet which is outside this material world. And when Krishna talks about that, those who worship demigods, like for example someone worship Indra, so he will go to Swargaloka. But Krishna's planet is beyond this material world. It's a spiritual planet. There is a material world and there is a spiritual world. Birth, old age, disease, death, these are all applicable to material world. So even Brahma, he have a death because he is a part of material world. So Krishna is talking about that we go to Vaikuntha, the planet which is free from duality. And that's what Krishna is talking about. We can go to Vaikuntha. If we worship Krishna, we go to the planet of Krishna, which is Vaikuntha, which is beyond this material realm.
So how many souls are there like in the Vaikuntha?
There are unlimited souls in Vaikuntha and there are unlimited souls in this material world as well. So, but there are unlimited devotees. So,
But how do we know like if someone reached there?
how do we know
Yeah.
with
You
someone?
already reached there. Like do they give us some sign?
Interesting question. So, so you mean like how we can verify that someone
Yeah,
went to
if
Vaikuntha?
Prabhupada already been there, like can he give us some sign?
Yeah, interesting question. So oftentimes we see material world from our own mind. Like we are so we always see that it's a gradual progression, and because we don't have that vision. Like for example, we have to develop that vision, then we can see different planets. Like for example, Narada Muni, he is a liberated soul. He can travel all three planetary systems. He can go and see the Lord face to face. But we have not developed that qualification to go and see that, and go and see that place. We have to build the qualification. For example, we want to meet the Prime Minister, or we want to go to Prime Minister's office. If you say that I want to go and visit White House, he said, what's your qualification? Are you qualified enough to go and see it? But we know from knowledge that yes, there is a president, there is a prime minister in the White House, he lives it. So same way, by hearing from pure devotees, we can know about it. But with our material senses and our material knowledge, we cannot see it. So that's where Krishna talks first, right? Begins that we have to hear to see Krishna, to build that vision. And it's our own journey. When we go back to Godhead, we can see for ourselves. And scriptures talks about it, right? That's why we have Ramayana, we have Mahabharata, like Vedic scripture, which talks the souls in the past. So this is the history, these are all history of the souls. So from scriptures we can see it.
But Krishna can travel to everywhere, right?
Yes.
He can.
Yeah. Krishna can travel everywhere. Thank you. That's a very nice question.
As you said, Prabhu, Ravana worshipped demigod like Shankar he worshipped, but Ravana was a reincarnation of Jaya, right? The
Jaya,
king
Jaya.
Padam. So why he had to go through? I know there is a story behind it. So Krishna made an example for us because.
Yes. So Krishna teaches through his devotees.
Yeah. So he makes everything, like every story he's making, right? Because he's making our story too, right?
There is a difference about it. Normally, Lord and his all associates, like although Ravana, as you said, Ravana and Kumbhakarna, they are Jai Vijay. They are doorkeepers of Vaikuntha. So, who have a qualification to fight with the Lord?
Of course.
So that's why none of us have the qualification. So that's why Krishna makes his arrangement his own pure devotees. So to teach us a lesson. So for example, just like the example of daughter and
No, this is what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Krishna made this story
Yes.
just for us to understand what is.
It's a Leela,
Yeah,
it's a Leela. Yes. Krishna made this all pastimes of Ramayana, Krishna's Leela, so that we all can understand from their example that how to live in this material world. But as far as Jiva is concerned, we have a free will.
Then why didn't he make us understand then we should go to Krishna directly? Why he said, why, as you're explaining us, Ravana works it as a Shiva. So why didn't Krishna explain us, come to me directly?
So that's what Krishna is talking from Bhagavad Gita, right? The one principle Krishna is, Krishna loves all of us. And in love, what is the key principle? Key principle in love is freedom, free will. If you take away free will, they become robots. So Krishna have given all of us the free will to enjoy. Whether to surrender to Krishna or whether not to surrender to Krishna. Now we are misusing our free will. And Krishna comes like Yuga Dharmaste Glanir Bharati Bharata. Every Yuga he comes and he gives this message so that we get opportunity to go back to Godhead. So it is Jiva's free will because of which we are not surrendering to Krishna. Now we are coming, we are changing our free will, we are taking time to listen about Bhagavad Gita, taking association of devotees. So now slowly we can go back to Godhead with his association. So Krishna, because ultimately he loves us. Because of that love, he gives us that free will and he doesn't control us. Like he controls indirectly. Thing. Thank you. Any other?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. What are some of the ways we can surrender to Krishna?
What are some of the ways to surrender
How
to
to
Krishna?
surrender to Krishna? What does it mean?
So, surrender to Krishna. So, all of we think that surrender means, thank you, Prabhu, it's a very nice question. So, all of us have a surrender means in war. Raise our hand and I'm helpless. That I'm helpless and it's very negative feeling. That's the meaning surrender many times we call. But in Sanskrit word for surrender is sharan. So, Sharanagati. So, actually surrender means we take shelter of Krishna. So now, a child comes to parents with his shelter. So is it his defeat or what it is when child comes and asks help from parents? No, it's out of love. It's very sweet process. So surrender to Krishna is very sweet process. So it's a process. It's not a action that we surrender. In a war we surrender. So there are stages of surrender. So there are multiple stages. In the 18th chapter, Krishna talks, the last verse is Sarvadharman Parityaja Mamikam Sharanam Braja. Prabhupada talks about various stages of surrender, that how one living entity can surrender to Krishna and how we can gradually see ourselves, how we are advancing it. So it's a process. The first step, what is the first step? Is taking association of devotees, making Krishna as a priority, chanting his holy name. So that's a process of surrender. So how it goes is, how we advance in bhakti is, there are 6 steps. One is sadhu sangha, bhajan kriya, ananta nivritti. So the first stage of surrender is sadhu sangha. We start hearing, we start taking association of devotees. That's the first step. of surrender. Now next stage is bhajan kriya. We start chanting, we start reading, we are hearing. Sadhu Sangha bhajan kriya, and then slowly we start purifying ourselves. And gradually we start purifying ourselves, then our faith becomes steady, and then we can nishtha, ruchi, prema. So gradually we come close to Krishna. So it's a process, it's not a specific stage. And whatever you are doing, this is a surrender. Incrementally, slowly we go towards Krishna and we take shelter of it. Is that helpful? Thank you, Prabhuji. Any other questions? I have a question. Yes, sir.
Prabhu, what is the difference between jnana and prema?
Knowledge and love.
Love, which we, yeah, because we are in love with Krishna, but we do not have any knowledge of any Veda.
So, as we discuss about the cobbler story,
Yeah.
knowledge is child of bhakti. So that's the topmost knowledge. The cobbler was not very intelligent, but what happened? He had the prema for that, and he had knowledge to see Krishna everywhere. So we don't need to know Vedas if we understand the essence of Vedas. If we know the essence of Vedas, then we don't need to know so much about other things. So essence of Veda is surrender to Krishna. Ved ananta bolila, artha itukachi sadila, Vittalashi Sharan Jave, Nijanishta Nam Gave. It's a song of Marathi poet that Vedas talk about unlimited things, but what's the essence of it? Surrender to Krishna. Surrender to Krishna's lotus feet. So if you know that, then you don't need to study entire Vedas. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Prabhu, my question then. So you said some people deny and some people accept God existence, correct?
Yes.
So you just mentioned there is a free will. God has given free will.
Yes.
So, so my understanding, the spirited souls, they have to go through multiple births, they have to go through sufferings, hardships. So they themselves at one point realize they want to come out of that. Until then, so they never get a chance to divert it towards spiritual path. Can we understand it that way? Because so what is the trigger? Like some people they will be right away reject. Some people immediately connected. Like even for example, right? So how can we understand the trigger? Like
That some are connected. Some
some are connected because again it's God's given free will, correct?
Yes.
So what decides? Okay, some souls to be attracted, like started believing in the this philosophy and devotion, God's existence.
Yeah. So what happens is we are all, the example is given is a water drop. When water forms from rain, it's a pure, but when it mixes with mud, it gets contaminated. So all of us have a love for Krishna, but because of Anadikal, we have been contaminated by our desires, our karma, that we have forgotten Krishna. So we all have that love for Krishna. So when we do punya, generally punya doesn't guarantee, but it makes a soil fertile to get the message of Krishna. So when we act righteously, we get message of Krishna. And that's one aspect of it. Another aspect of it is Brahmante Brahmite Kon Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Kripa Prasade Bhai Bhakti Lata Bij. So it's a causeless mercy of pure devotees of the Lord and Krishna, both of them, we get bhakti. So one, you make a soil ripened, but the seed comes just by causeless mercy of Krishna. And that's why we get bhakti. So, but we have to make our soil, so it's a causeless. Like for example, we distribute books so many across Bay Area. Achyut Chaitanya Prabhu goes every Sunday, Saturday, distribute books, many people. Not all are recipients because they are not so fortunate. So we can appreciate that we are fortunate and we can help others to give bhakti. Like, is that helpful?
Yeah.
Thank you. I think we are out of time. 7:50.
Got a call. 7:20.
Yeah, sure. Yes, sure. Thank you so much.
You're starting.
Thank you so much for joining.
So in his car, whoever were there,